Hello there. Do you usually have issues while trying to study English? If you do not worry because today I will be giving you some English study hacks. My name is Tutor Olalekon Israel and I say welcome to another wonderful episode of Prep Class Study Hacks. Before we get to it, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Turn on the post notification so you can be notified whenever we upload any new content. Alright, let's begin. First, what are study hacks? What does it mean to study? To study means to devote time and attention to gaining of knowledge. To study means to devote time and attention to gaining of knowledge. Now, it is a detailed investigation and analysis of a subject, material, or situation. So, when you're carrying an investigation on something, trying to make an analysis on a subject or a situation, you are studying the situation. It means to devote time and attention to gaining of knowledge. Now, synonyms of studying include reading, learning, and research. Okay, let's move on. Now, what is the meaning of hacks? Now, a hack is a quick and clever solution to a problem. Everybody loves quick and clever solutions. So, a hack is a quick and clever solution to a problem. Now, English study hacks, therefore, are ways of making studying English faster, easier, and effective. I'll go over that again. English study hacks, therefore, are ways of making studying, learning of English faster, easier, and effective. Now, in this video, we will be examining 10 English study hacks. These hacks are guaranteed to make studying English easier, faster, and effective. Are you ready to be introduced to these study hacks? Right, I'll take that as a yes. Okay, let's begin. Now, one very important hack for studying, not just for English but for all topics and subjects, is the SQ3R reading strategy. Yes, the SQ3R reading strategy. Now, the SQ3R is a 5-step technique that you can use to learn more effectively and to increase your retention of written information. Now, the essence of studying is to retain information. So, the SQ3R is a 5-step technique that you can use to learn more effectively and to increase your retention of written information. It helps you to focus on what you need from a document and to create a clear structure for the information in your mind. Now, the SQ3R stands for S, survey. So, what do you do when you survey? Now, survey is the process of looking at the headings, sub-headings, images, charts, graphs, and so on to get an idea of what the study material entails. So, when you survey a material, you're looking at the headings, the sub-headings, the images, the charts, the graphs, and so on to get an idea of what the study material entails. You've not started reading proper. You have just looked at the headings, sub-headings, images, charts, and graphs, and you already was trying to get an idea of what the material entails. Now, this is a focused kind of studying. There's a focus. When you look at the headings, okay, what does this mean? Why this heading? When you look at the sub-headings, what is the essence of these images? Now, you're already getting information already like that. Okay, moving on. What does Q stand for? Q stands for question. Now, after you've surveyed, questions are generated from the survey of the material. After you've looked at the headings, the sub-headings, the images, the graphs, and so on, questions are generated from the survey of the material. These questions can be written out or kept at heart. Now, this focuses the learner's attention to getting answers to already set questions when reading the passage. Now, when you survey a passage, you look at probably the heading of the passage, the topic. You look at an image. You're already trying to process what information about that material. Now, after you've looked at the headings, sub-headings, the images, and so on, you create questions that you want to find out there. Why or what is the essence of this image? What does this graph mean? So when you create those questions, like, it already sets your mind to the information what you'll be getting from the passage. So after you've created the questions, you now read. Now, reading of the material takes place and answers to the questions generated earlier are gotten and other necessary information. Now, you can see that this is a targeted approach. First, you survey the passage, you survey the material, you look at the headings, the subheadings, images, charts, graphs, and so on. You are already trying to get an idea of the passage. After doing that, you generate questions from the survey of the material. Why is this image important to this passage? Why this heading? So those questions now, you'll be getting answers from them when you read the passage. It's a targeted approach. So reading of the material takes place and answers to the questions generated earlier are gotten and other necessary information. So after you have read, you recite. You recite. The second R stands for recite. To recite means to say the answers to the questions out. After you've surveyed, you generate questions. After generating questions, you read the passage to get answers to those questions. Then after you've gotten the answers, you recite. You say the questions out. This helps retention. Whenever you keep saying things, it helps retention. Like we did while learning the times table, 2 times 1, 2, 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 3, 6, and so on. When you keep saying things over and again, it helps retention. So after each section, stop and recall your questions and see if you can answer them from memory. If not, look back at the text again as often as necessary, but don't move to the next section until you can recite the answers from the previous one. Let's say you have a material that comes in sections. You survey the material generally, you generate questions. Then after you read the first section, recite the answers to those questions. If you can't recollect the answers, go back up to the material. Do that as often as necessary, but don't move to the next section until you can recite the answers from the previous one. It helps you to retain the information you have gotten from the material. So after reciting, the next R means review. Review. Once you are done reading the entire material using the preceding steps, that is, survey, questions, read, and recite, go back over the questions you create for every heading, for every section. Go back to the questions. See if you can still answer them. You are carrying out a review. See if you can still answer them. If not, look back and refresh your memory. Now, this is a very effective technique for studying. Survey, look at the headings, the subheadings, images, charts, graphs. Try to get an idea of what the passage is about from this survey. Then after that, you generate questions from the survey. What is the essence of this heading? Why this subheading? Why this chart? Why this graph? What is the importance of this image? Generate questions. After you've generated questions, now read the passage to get answers to those questions you have generated. Then after that, you recite. You recite the answers. You recite the answers. You say them out. Then after that, you review. You go over the questions again to see if you can still answer them. If not, you go back to the material to read and refresh your memory. This is very, very effective. Okay. The next act is set a target for every study session. Set a target for every study session. This is what I want to know after this study session. Don't just study without having a target. It makes the study disoriented. Be conscious and intentional about the purpose of studying. Be conscious and intentional about the purpose of studying. What you intend to achieve from the study. Okay, I want to know the 44 English sounds from this study. That is the target of this study session. Be intentional. This helps you to streamline your mind to focus on necessary information. So whatever thing is not part of the targets for the study session, you don't put your heart to it. Your mind is focused. Your mind has been streamlined to focus on the necessary information you need to get from this study session. So many information may be embedded in a study material and not all are necessary or important to you. For example, if you pick up a study material and you just want to know the different types of nouns, that same material might entail or might contain the types of pronouns, but you've set your study target to be what? Knowing the different types of nouns. So your mind is focused on just getting information about the different types of nouns. So many information may be embedded in a study material and not all are necessary or important to you. So when you set a study target, your mind is focused on picking information that are in line with your study targets. Your mind performs a kind of filtering. It filters information, the necessary ones, and it takes away the unnecessary ones. Set a target for every study session. Alright, let's move on. Third act is, while studying, be patient, don't rush. While studying, be patient, don't rush. Now, let's go back again to the definition of studying. Now, to study means to devote time and attention to gaining of knowledge. To study means to devote time and attention to gaining of knowledge. To devote time and attention, so you don't rush. You have to be patient. Right, let's go on. So the third act says, while studying, be patient, don't rush. Studying any English material requires patience because there are a lot of techniques that need to be observed and adhered to carefully for assimilation. A lot of techniques are needed to be observed and adhered to carefully for assimilation. That example, punctuations. You need to adhere to what? Punctuations for better understanding. There is a difference between reading and studying. There's a slight difference between reading and studying. Reading involves going through a particular topic to gather information from it. Scanning and skimming are reading techniques, but studying requires more devotion. It requires more time and energy compared to reading. Studying involves researching and learning, while reading involves perusing through texts to understand concepts. In studying, it is important to remember almost everything because studying takes more time. It needs what? You to devote more time and attention to it. Okay, so while studying, be patient, don't rush. Studying needs more time. You can actually read a document, you can scan a document. Scanning is a reading technique. You can skim a document, it is a reading technique. But you don't scan something you want to study, you don't skim what you want to study. You take time to study. It requires more devotion, it requires more time and energy. Okay, let's move on to the fourth act. Develop your vocabulary. Like for every language, the importance of vocabulary cannot be overemphasized. So, while studying English, a learner needs to consciously develop their vocabulary by making use of the dictionary, extensive reading, use of search engines, and so on. These are ways you can develop your vocabulary, making use of the dictionary, extensive reading, and use of search engines like Google and the rest. A person with a very good vocabulary repertoire would have a more effective learning session, would have a more effective studying session, because you would be able to make use of appropriate synonyms to understand unfamiliar words. You would be able to make use of appropriate synonyms to understand unfamiliar words. So, develop your vocabulary. It makes studying easier. You have what? Numerous meanings for a particular word. You can actually interchange different words because you have a very strong vocabulary database. Okay, the next act, which is the fifth act, is take study breaks. This is very important. Taking regular breaks can help prevent study fatigue and keep you focused. If you continue to read for a lengthy period of time, you will be fatigued. So taking regular breaks can help prevent study fatigue and keep you focused. These breaks allow you to refresh your mind and improve creativity, as well as helping you to maintain your attention and regain your motivation. Study breaks help to relax the brain and the mind to absorb information that have been gotten from studying so far. So take study breaks. Okay, that's being said, we are going to take a break now. Yes, we're going to take a break now. So join us on WhatsApp. Check for the link to the WhatsApp group in the description of this video. Check for the other 5 study acts in the next video. Right, see you in the next video.